Bonjour les amis, hello from Paris. This video is for you if you are feeling blocked, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're fighting with yourself while you're trying to learn French, or really any language. Now, I'm not a French teacher, I'm not an expert, I'm just a language learner myself who has been on this French language learning journey for many, many years, having picked it up, having gotten blocked, having gotten stuck, having forgotten a whole lot of it, having started it again, having thought I had it all, having realized there was much more to learn. So I know what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to help you get unstuck with this beautiful language that we all love so much and want to be able to share. Free newsletter where I share all kinds of stuff, sometimes about the French language, but also about my larger French life. Having moved here to France in 2022, I do share some recipes and ideas and inspirations, and also a bit about my work and career as a writer and a designer. And so I hope you'll come on over and join us. We have a very cute community over there and we would love to have you. With that being said, also I want to address the fact that I'm often talking to you in my kitchen, but I mean, is the lighting in here not amazing? So that's why, okay? I mean, my hair looks great in here, doesn't it? And I just want to say one other thing, which is if you make it all the way to the end of the video, or if you don't have time, you can just skip right ahead. I'm going to speak some French at the end of the video because I know people are always saying they speak a language. People are always, here and there, oh, I speak this, I speak that. So I thought I'll speak a little bit of French to tell you a little bit more about my language learning journey in French and how it all started. It won't be a lot, but I'll just put a little bit in there. All right, now that we have all that out of the way, let's dive right in. How to get unblocked in your French language learning. First thing I want to talk about. So I've been hearing, not from just one person, not from just two people, but a little bit everywhere, this negative self-talk about, I just was really never very good in French in school. Oh, it was just so difficult. I struggled and so I don't have confidence and I wish I could, but I can't. And I just want to say my number one top tip is to tell you to edit out that negative voice that's in your head that's telling you that you didn't do something well when you were a little kid in school, or that you got embarrassed when you tried to do this, or that waiters always talk back to you in English. Block it out. Why? Because, well, it's really funny that, we're talking about learning a language and it's our own native internal language that is trying to put up these obstacles to stop us from living the dream. And I just think you have to redirect yourself gently every time you hear yourself saying something like that. And by the way, spoiler alert, this is a great tip for the rest of your life as well. Just anytime you're doing something and your voice is telling you, you can't do that, you don't know how to do that, you were never good at that, your mom told you you weren't good at languages, you never would be. No, don't permit that kind of thought to come into the world. So the first thing that I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to give you some positive things to say to yourself when you're feeling down about learning the French language or the language of your choice. And I'm going to give them to you in English and then just a few short ones in French, so that you can practice them and you can put them in rotation when you are getting ready in the morning, when you are drinking your coffee, when you're having a little break, when you're wanting to study French but not feeling motivated. They're just little phrases. They're things that I personally do for myself because frankly, I have had plenty of times in my life where I've just not felt like studying French, or just not felt like I'm making any progress, or felt on top of the world. I mean, I've told those stories before, and then just boom, it all crumbles and I make some really big mistake, or I have one day where I'm just like, feel so fluid, I just feel that flow going. I'm not having any problems. And the next day I'm like, I can't pronounce words, I can't get thoughts out. And it's all part of it. So I do try to talk to myself in a positive manner. Some people would call these like affirmations. You can label them whatever you want. I'm not into labels. Let me just give you a couple of these to say to yourself in case they're helpful to you. My French is getting better. My French is getting better because you know what? It always is. Even with the most minimal effort, it gets a little better and a little better and a little better. So my French is getting better. My French is getting better every day. Another one is I speak French. I speak French. I love to speak French. I love to study French. I enjoy learning a new phrase in French. I enjoy listening to the French language. The point is just to give yourself a little bit of encouragement, like a little, be your own hype man, just like get yourself a little bit pumped up and encourage yourself. I can do this. All right. And if you want to say something to yourself in French, because why wouldn't you? It's so fun to speak French to yourself. By the way, great tip also, I do it all the time. You can say little phrases like this. Karen, tu peux le faire. Karen, tu peux le faire. So just insert your own name. Tu peux le faire. 4 syllables, very easy. Tu peux le faire. Another one that is really great is je suis fière de moi. Je suis fière de moi. You could also say je suis fière de toi. I'm proud of you. Simple sentence, but very important sentiment. Am I right? Here's another great one in French and in English. I'm making progress. Je fais des progrès. Je fais des progrès. Je fais des progrès. And then another one which is really good for everything in life. Petit à petit. Petit à petit. Petit à petit. Small steps, right? Okay, so those are some affirmations to just help you. Personally, I think you should say them every day, more than once a day. Try it. Let me know in the comments if it has any impact or effect on you. I've read that, science says that when we program ourselves to think about the things that we want to do in a way that says we are doing them, that can have a positive effect on our outcomes. So I'm saying, why not try it? It's positive. Do it. You deserve to be positive if you're trying to learn a language. It's not easy. Et cette langue, la langue française, c'est pas facile, non? We just talked about petit à petit, little by little. That brings me to my next tip, which is lower your expectations. And again, this is another tip that applies to a lot of things when you're trying to achieve a big goal. Instead of like, I've got to be fluent in French by Christmas, you just say, I want to study 3 phrases every other day and memorize them so that I can use them when I speak French. And you see how just like making it so small, or 1 phrase a day, can be the smallest of all possible small goals. And I learned about this from a book called Tiny Habits, which is great. If you haven't read it, highly suggested. But it's this idea of just breaking down your wishes into such a small bite size that you can be successful. The more times you succeed at a small goal, the more your brain says, hey, we're successful, we're learning. Je fais des progrès. Try to listen to 3 minutes of a French speaking video or podcast. One of my current exercises is I listen to movie trailers in French. Those are difficult. Those are advanced because there's a lot of comedy and everybody's talking and it's jumping around. You can find sample dialogues online in French or in other languages. Just listen to them. You don't have to commit to necessarily understanding every single thing. I'm also going to put in the comments a couple of resources. There's one especially where someone's created a great audiobook series, and that might be interesting for you to check out because you can listen to it at a slower speed. And there's more and more of that online now, and it can be very helpful to you. So just lower those expectations and bite off the tiniest little nibble that you can. Teach yourself 1 phrase and just commit to repeating it to yourself all day long. I do that. My phrase of recent days is, ça n'était pas du tout ce à quoi je m'attendais. Just biting off a bite-sized piece and repeating it, adding it in slowly with lowered expectations. It works, I'm telling you. The next one is when you're feeling blocked, ask yourself why. Why am I blocked? Am I afraid? Am I feeling ashamed? What is the reason for my feeling blocked? And, am I really too tired to do it? Or am I just feeling like resisting it? And I just want to say it's okay if you need to take a break. I took a break for 15 or 20 years in my French, no kidding, from having learned it in middle school to, picking it back up again when I was much older. And I don't recommend that long of a break for you, but if you need to take a little bit of time off, there's no shame in that. Just remember that even if you're blocked and you're struggling, even if you take a break, you can always pick it up again. You can always pick it up again. And that remind yourself that it's a pleasure to pick it up again. You're not obligated, right? I mean, maybe you are if you have a job where you have to learn to speak French. That's a different story. But if you're coming to this as something that you really want to do, embrace the pleasure. Make yourself a cozy French corner where you always study. Put a little blanket on there or something with some French words. Put a little pile of French design books on the coffee table. Get yourself a mug with the Tour Eiffel on it, and really do it up. Treat yourself to a croissant after you study French once a week, and just try to gently ease yourself back into it, because again, it's a big deal to study a language and it's not easy, so you're doing great. And then the last one is just it's something that I use as a technique when I'm not feeling super pumped to just watch a whole movie in French or something like that. I think about some aspect of my life that I would normally be talking about or doing or needing in English, right? Like, how do I like to order my coffee with the exact ingredients the way I like it? Or what would I tell people at a dinner party if I met them and they asked me, what do I do? What is my latest project that I'm working on? I pick something small like that and I try to make a little script for myself. And I may research it a little bit. I may ask someone what's the best way to say this? I ask my French teacher all the time. As I've told you all numerous times, I always have my own French teacher, even at an advanced level. So I'll ask my French teacher, okay, is this the best way to say what my job is or whatever? And maybe she'll give me a little tweak here or there. And then I write that down and I start to memorize it. And when I say memorize it, not to be like a robot, but I know for myself when I'm in a situation where I'm with new people or I'm talking about anything that I'm a little bit, insecure about, or I'm using vocabulary that I don't know very well, I can freeze up. And that affects my pronunciation, and it affects just my ability to be in a fluent conversation with someone. So I will just take little snippets and memorize them. And then when I need them, I have an easier time retrieving them, out of my stock of things that I can say, and they just flow more freely. So I really encourage you to learn how to, for example, pronounce your name in the French style. I've told that story before, how I mispronounced my own name in French. Didn't know that was possible. Thought I knew how to pronounce my own name. But in French, your name will likely not be said in the same way that you pronounce it in your own language. Karen, my name, becomes Karen if I want French people to understand how it's spelled and just what it is. And my last name, for example, is Bussin, but in French, it's Bussen. That's the way everyone understands it. It works great. So learn how to pronounce your own name, and then learn how to present yourself. Just learn little things, how to say that you are, moi c'est Karen, je m'appelle Karen, je suis Karen, little things like that, and start to add on to that script with where you're from, what you do for a living, for example, anything like that. You can build that little story and you can keep working on it and adding to it, and it'll give you confidence to be able to at least say a few words about yourself in a more fluid way when you are in a situation where you can speak French. Those are my tips for today, and so now je vais parler un peu de français. Moi, j'ai commencé à étudier la langue française à l'âge de 11 ans à l'école. On a dû choisir une langue étrangère à étudier. Moi, j'ai choisi tout de suite le français, et c'était parce que j'ai adoré cette langue du premier moment. Et après l'école, je n'avais pas beaucoup d'opportunités de parler avec des Français. Je n'avais pas d'amis français. Ma famille n'est pas française. Et du coup, j'ai presque tout oublié. Mais en 2015, je pense, 2015, j'ai recommencé mes études. Et en France, à Lyon, à Paris et à New York. Et j'ai obtenu mon diplôme au niveau C1, le DALF C1, en 2017. Et je suis ravie de parler français. Et pour moi, c'est une passion. Et c'est quelque chose que je fais tout le temps. I think that's it. C'est tout pour aujourd'hui. Merci d'être venu. Thank you for being here. Thank you for leaving me all the beautiful comments that you leave me. I just love comments. So if you have time to drop me a line, I'd love to hear if you found this video helpful. Certainly you can give me a little like and subscribe. And again, come on over and sign up for my free newsletter. I really think you might like it. It's fun. It's got different content. Also some of my tips for what to do when you are in France. Go out there with confidence. Pump yourself up. Learn a little bit every day. You're always making progress. There's never a finish line when you're learning a different language. So just be on the journey with me and let's all speak a little more French, all right? Have a great day. Bonne continuation, les amis, et à bientôt.